So it's a good question, because actually in my experience it might not be as well understood as people might think. And meditation is life. Yeah, meditation is life, but not life in the sense of life in this I am this body and this body mind experience, but life as it truly is, which is actually infinite awareness, or infinite silence as I call it, or infinite consciousness. And meditation is about realizing that you are that. That's the whole purpose of meditation and the whole journey of self-realization or enlightenment or whatever, is to realize that you are in fact life and life eternal, and that not only are that, you've always been that, and you've never not been that. So people begin meditation as a practice, that's something that they do. I often say meditation begins as a practice. You formally sit down and meditate, and it's about a becoming still and a becoming aware process. But it ends as a realization, oh my gosh, I am this infinite consciousness, this infinite silence, this infinite awareness, and that is life, and that is meditation. And then it's realized that in fact you are what I call the living meditation. So that's what meditation really is. Various other things get put into that process about, calming the mind and all the rest of it. But as you recognize awareness, and that's what true meditation does, that which we call the mind will naturally still. And there are steps in meditation, practices, tools, techniques that people might use, but ultimately true meditation is beyond technique, beyond tools, beyond things like visualization. It's about simply recognizing that there's a witnessing presence that sees all the appearances in life, whether they're emotions, thoughts, feelings, sensations. All of these things come and they go, and they all can be recognized. We all can recognize there's a feeling, a sensation, an emotion. Whatever's happening, all of it is being observed, and that which is doing the observing and witnessing is actually awareness. And we'll eventually see that that is actually unaffected by the appearances, by the phenomena, by the emotions, by the events of life. And when we can see that and recognize that, and on a constant and regular basis, then we're truly meditating, and life will become much stiller and much calmer. So that's what meditation is. It's about recognizing you are awareness, you are infinite consciousness, infinite silence. And sometimes people say to me, I can't meditate. And that's actually a misunderstanding of what life is, what meditation is. And the reason that happens is that maybe for the first time people sit down and formally meditate. They'll suddenly become aware of, wow, it's noisy up here. There's lots of thoughts going on. And it can seem difficult or challenging, almost from their perspective impossible to move beyond that, and therefore give up at that point. But actually, that recognition that there's all that energy of thought and noise or whatever going on is actually something that may not have been spotted or recognized before. And the mere fact that it's been spotted or recognized is actually a great thing, because the question that most people miss at that point is, what is it that saw that energy of thought, saw all that noise? You might think and believe you are your thoughts, but actually there's a presence that's witnessing the energy of thought, that is also witnessing the energy of feelings, emotions, sensations. And that which is seeing and watching and noticing that there's all these thoughts here is actually awareness. And you'll eventually come to see that that awareness is actually unaffected by the thoughts, by the emotions. And that is the key to meditation, because when you associate with the awareness, what we call the mind will naturally still and calm. The first part of what I now call the infinite silence meditation, I'll refer to as the spheres of light meditation, or more accurately just the spheres meditation. And that's something that came to me in a meditation insight back in 2011. And it's actually a very simple process of opening to awareness. The story of how it came about is perhaps not, I won't go into all the detail, but essentially what I was shown was that all that one needed to do is just be open from your heart to connect with the energy of the spheres, to connect with the spheres. And the reason it's spheres is like if you imagine a single point and you radiate out equally in every direction, you'll end up with the spheres. And the universe is a bit like, an infinite sized sphere. And this intention to connect with that is like an invitation to connect with the entirety of the universe. So the spheres meditation, in its purest and simplest form, is as simple as this: just be open from your heart to connect with the spheres. And we can give people an experience of that later. I use this because it actually also came in an insight, and it's a really good metaphor not only for the spheres or spheres of light meditation, the infinite silence meditation, which the spheres of light meditation is the first part, and self-realization. And basically you can see this fibre optic length in the shutter shot here now, and if you can imagine that you are one of these points of light, and everybody else is also a point of light, then most of us spend most of our lives looking outward into the world, and it looks like all the other points of light are separate from us. So I am separate from you and everybody else and so forth. And when you do that, the world can create an experience of separation, and it can be quite a scary place. Now, the whole meditative journey and self-realization journey is actually about turning the viewpoint around, like a turning point in your life, and actually, for the first time, looking down the fibre optic. And as you do that, you can start to become aware of this part of the fibre optic lamp. And this is the spheres of light part. It's the pure state, the pure universal state. I am the infinite I am, that's not personal. And one of the things that the Spheres of Light meditation will do, or the Spheres meditation does, is helps you to start to become aware of and connect with that energy. And so it acts as a bridge to a deeper part of the meditation, which is even this sense of I am, the pure I am that's referred to in spirit traditions, can also be seen as a phenomena, and that which sees or witnesses that is actually represented by this part of the lamp, which in this physical version is a battery, but in actual universal terms and self-realization terms is actually awareness that's everywhere, not just confined to the base here. And so this is a very good metaphor for the whole meditative journey, looking inward, recognizing the pure state I am, and then that which is before and beyond that, the infinite silence, the infinite awareness, or the infinite consciousness. And it's this awareness, as I was talking about earlier, that is unaffected by the phenomena appearing in your body, whether that's feelings, thoughts, sensations, emotions. Yeah, so it is ultimately simple. In fact, it's beyond even the concept of simple self-realization and this meditation. And the reason for that, and I'll say that it's so simple in the end, is that which you are seeking, everybody's seeking peace ultimately. That which you are seeking, eventually what is realized, is that which in fact you already are. And that there's never been a time, and there never will be a time, that you've not been that. And that's what self-realization and enlightenment is all about. Oh my gosh, I am that awareness. It's that that's realized. Just like you might have an aha moment about some relatively small thing in life. This is the greatest aha moment in the universe. And it's simple because you are already it. It's not something that you're seeking to attain. The reason the word realization is there is because it is that realization of that which has never gone anywhere. So it couldn't be any simpler than realizing that which you are. The mind tries to complicate life. It thinks and believes that all I am is this body-mind, and that it needs things, stuff, people, places, possessions to be happy. And none of this is ultimately true. This awareness that's realized, this infinite silence, is that which you are. And as the word states, it's infinite. And therefore there is nothing beyond or outside of that. You are all of it already. No, except that people create the one fundamental block that as I like to put it, is the energy of belief. The belief that all I am is the body-mind. And that's a belief in separation, not only from other beings, but from this very source energy, the infinite silence, the infinite awareness, the infinite consciousness. And that belief in separation, the belief that all I am is the body-mind, is the only block that's experienced ultimately to self-realization. All the other blocks and challenges that people experience in life are simply subsets of that one mistaken belief. So ultimately, self-realization is profoundly simple and open to everyone, always. So if we just prepare ourselves now to experience the spheres meditation in its simplest form, just simply, silently close your eyes. And then just simply be open from your heart to connect with the spheres. And just continuing to rest in this. In a moment, I'll ring the Tingsha bells. And you can use this meditation at any point in your day, for as long or as short as you like. And use regularly, it will help you deepen into awareness. And this meditation acts as a bridge to the full, infinite silence meditation, and ultimately to the realization of the self. Namaste.